Thank you all for having me today. My name is Zaied. I'm with the East Montgomery Islamic Society. Now, when I got the invite to come here today, I was very honored and I felt blessed. Even though I was very scared, because the last time I was in a church and giving a speech, I said a bad word in front of everybody. So, excuse me, I'm a little bit more nervous than I usually would be today. But I was so excited because I was raised up north, and when we moved down here, the civil rights movement takes on a completely new picture. When you live it and you're walking the same streets, it's different. It feels different. You live the stories. And for me, the fact that Rosa Parks was an African-American woman that took that first step resonates. Because in many ways, when the Koran came down and was revealed 1,400 years ago, it was the seed of a civil rights movement. And it completely altered the status quo. It changed the lives of slaves, the poor, and most importantly, women. Before the Quran, women did not have a say. If you had an infant daughter and you had more than one or two, you buried her alive because you didn't want that unwanted responsibility. And women were not allowed to inherit property. And they were moved. You were the property of your father, then the property of your husband, and if he died, the property of your sons. Can you imagine that? That was the culture, the tribal culture that lived back then. So then when the Quran is revealed and it banishes female infanticide, and it gives women a voice, and then it also changes and adds something else. It says that the two concepts that we need to live by are, one, equality for all, and the second is social justice. Now, I like to think of Miss Rosa Parks as fearless, but in my heart, I think I'd be terrified. Being told to move over and over again and knowing the environment around me and what could happen. So I have to admire her fear. I'm in awe. Admire her strength, her courage. I'm in awe of it. And so I'd like to share a few verses from the Quran that stand out to me and that help and remind me that sometimes, even though it's hard, I will speak up for what's right. And even if it hurts me, and even in the long run, it means that I'm different and I stand out as the troublemaker, I'm okay with that because it's the right thing to do. Like any millennial, I use my phone, I'm sorry. In chapter 4, verse 135, it says, "O ye who believe, stand out firmly for justice as witnesses to God, even as against yourself or your parents or your kin. And whether it be against the rich or poor, have no fear, for God is the best protector." And the second is, "O ye who believe, stand out firmly for God and be just witnesses, and let not the enmity and hatred of others make you avoid justice. Be just, for that is nearer to piety than prayer. And fear God alone, for God will protect you always." Now these two verses may seem small, but every time I get scared or I'm doing something uncomfortable, even as I was sitting here counting down for Rabbi Scott and then Reverend Shane, and I'm getting nervous, I remind myself that it's okay. This fear that I have of coming up because I cursed last time in church is nothing compared to the fear she had and the legacy she left us, not only as women, but as a minority. That you stand up even against those that don't believe in what you believe. And even if it means that you've changed your life, and even if it means you become the troublemaker, the one that everybody said, "Oh, that's the one that stayed on the bus." It's okay. I wish I could be more and more like her, and I hope that her legacy is something that we can all embody to some extent and stand up, especially these days when it's so easy to see something on social media or Facebook or anything and just let it go because it hurts too much to look it in the face and say, no, it's not okay. Thank you so much for having me today.